during its hearing on the RG car rape and murder case. The Supreme Court has observed protests cannot be at the cost of duty, as it directed doctors to return to work immediately by 5 p.m. and assured that there will be no adverse action if they resume duty. After the Supreme Court has directed the West Bengal government not to take action against doctors who resume their work by 5 p.m. tomorrow, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has also requested junior doctors to resume work. Meanwhile, as protesting students have demanded the resignation of Kolkata Police Commissioner Vineet Goyal, Mamata Banerjee has issued a response saying, where she said we can think about the resignation as the festive season comes to an end. She's also invited 5 to 6 people of the protesting members to talk to her and said she's ready to hear their demands. Joining us live at this point is Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian. We also have Ashwini Dubey, AOR, Supreme Court, live with us. Kailash Vastev, senior advocate, Supreme Court, also joins us live. Dr. Subarna Goswami, senior doctor, RG Car Hospital, is also with us live in the broadcast. Joyita Basu, let me make a start with you first. It was press conference versus press conference today on a day the Supreme Court also was hearing the matter, while Mamata Banerjee said that it's not feasible for the sacking of the West Bengal Kolkata Police Commissioner because of the upcoming Durga Puja law and order issue. The BJP continued to press on for his resignation and for her sacking as well, saying that these are just excuses.
Well, it is not just the BJP that is seeking the resignation of the Chief Minister as well as the Police Commissioner. The large section of protesters who are completely apolitical, and these are ordinary people, ordinary voters. They are also very much out on the streets seeking the resignation of both the police officer and as well as the Chief Minister. There is a cry for we want justice, and it is happening all over the world. I think 133 cities or something around the world, you know, people over there. I mean, of course, the Indian diaspora, they have been talking about it. Definitely, the police commissioner will have to go. And you see, what the Chief Minister is basically hoping for, that, you know, because the festive season is coming, because Durga Puja is just a month away, in fact, less than a month away. And what happens in West Bengal, that because she is unable to pay DA, because she is unable to often pay salaries and things like that happen over there in Bengal. So as a result of which, what she offers the people instead is holiday. You know, for Durga Puja, everything is shut for 15 or 20 days. Nothing moves in the city. She thinks that, you know, I mean, it is that festivity. People will be going around pandal to pandal. The state government employees get holidays for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And in all this, people will forget. So that is what she is basically, in terms of strategy, in terms of political strategy, that is what she is hoping for. And that is why, you know, because she is more or less certain that inside a month people will forget about it and she can go back to business as usual. So there is a lot of talk that is happening at the level of the people, that, you know, this is something she should not be allowed to do, but then that is what she is aiming for. So all this talk about we will consider it after Durga Puja and all, well, I am certain there are other police people also. The police commissioner himself is not sitting and looking after the security bandobast of the puja. If she wanted, she could have sacked him at least 2 weeks back. You know, this issue has been becoming big for over a month now. Okay, but she did not do it. She is just hoping, you know, and that is what everybody is afraid of, that she will just ensure that everything gets delayed and delayed and delayed, and people will ultimately get fed up and forget all about it, and she will go back to whatever she has been doing. Her misrule, her misgovernance will continue. That is what the whole strategy is.
Yes, even as the protests continue on ground, the Supreme Court has urged the protesting doctors to resume duty. Ashwini Dubey, is that something that, you know, a call that you would echo as well? Also, meanwhile, the Supreme Court, of course, asking for an updated status report by the CBI as well.
Honorable Supreme Court was worried about the healthcare system. This is prevailing because of the ongoing strike of the medical professionals. But at the same time, Honorable Supreme Court also, in the same breath, said to the state government that they should take steps to take the doctors into confidence and allay their fears as regards safety and security, which is very much common. And that is why if you see the doctors are protesting there, and not one incident, number of incidents have taken place. And it is a case where very rightly you have pointed out, which has opened the lawlessness of the state. The way state glorifying the offenders and patronizing them, that shows that there is no rule of law, but law of ruler, of course. The way mob entered inside the hospital and police was the mute spectator. The crime scene was destroyed. In a criminal jurisprudence, my learned senior, Mr. Vasudev, is here. He would enlighten us. In a criminal jurisprudence, each second is important so far as the collection of evidence and preservation of the crime site. Here, the FIR was registered at a later stage. The reporting to the parents, thought the dead body was about to be cremated. Parents were asking but not given. And then somebody died, then immediately action has to be taken, earlier as per the CRPC, now as per the Bharatiya Nyaya Suraksha Sanhita. But it all failure, if you see. No medical proof there. And institutional negligence, we should call it. Evidence tampering, rather systematic evidence tampering. Role of law enforcement agencies are doubtful and suspicious. Lawlessness. The public outrage mounting because there is no rule of law. So how can we think about the rule of justice in the state? The brutal murder and rape of several other people. You see, the post-poll violence, what was the National Human Rights Commission opinion? That the victims were made accused. Sandesh Khali case. You see, on the basis of the religion, women were being subjected to the rape and sexual offenses. This is all we have seen. The transfer of investigation to the CBI at a later stage, that too after 5, 6, 7 days when Honorable High Court and Supreme Court took a cognizance of it, and even Honorable Chief Justice of India and Honorable Chief Justice of High Court of Calcutta, they have called it a horrendous act. So serious concern about the safety of the medical professionals in the state, not only medical profession, if medical profession also, how common people will be safe. It's a question where the failure of the constitutional machinery of the state, we must say. But of course, ultimately some has to be, the people who are going to the hospitals, they should be given due care, they should be given treatment. That is also one of the concern of Honorable CJI. That is very much logical, very much right. So let's see what will happen. But at the same time, as Jyotija ji said, very rightly she has said, now she is waiting for the time कि धीरे धीरे जैसे भारत में लोगों की मेमोरी कमजोर होती है, ये किस्सा भी निर्भया की तरह, दिशा की तरह आगे बढ़ता चला जाएगा और लोग भूल जाएंगे. Over to you.
Kiraj Vastev, you know, the Supreme Court, of course, has urged the protesting doctors to come back to work on a day. Interestingly, the politics continues to play out over this as well, with the West Bengal governor, West Bengal, Chief Minister so far not, agreeing to the demand of the resignation of the Kolkata Police Commissioner, saying law and order will go for a complete toss. Festivals are coming up, including Durga Puja. What do you make of the politics in the case, and of course also the direction the Supreme Court is taking in this matter, with them also demanding another status report from the CBI, which continues its independent investigation as well?
Good evening. Ashwini, good evening. We have a very peculiar situation which is now prevailing in our country, where human lives don't matter. Corruption does, malpractices do, and politics, of course, is the kingpin for lynching the good judicial system. I use the word lynching. This incident took place on the 2nd of August, if I mistake not. Reporting came the same day. The FIR is filed later. The scene of evidence is destroyed. I've said all this on your channel. Then comes the breakout of political interference. Then comes the allegation that the principal of the college is a person with questionable antecedents. But in all this, we have lost justice. The Supreme Court says doctors should be permitted to be protected. You want to lay down a code of conduct for doctors. You want to lay down a procedure where doctors and medical men are given certain protection in view of noble duties which they perform. All this is excellent. We think of everything after the event has taken place. But what do we do about the event? Nothing. This girl has lost her life in a most brutal way, most brutal way. There is now the reports in the past 2-3 days that this gentleman who's arrested, the person who's accused of this, even in the test, the nitro test, seems to be doubtful whether he's involved or no. Now, one person is arrested, his participation becomes questionable because he says, I've not done anything, you're trying to frame me. Please see the enormity of the failure of the policing system, the failure of our political people to stand up to defend those who have been totally ruined and killed in a manner which is unbelievable. We have today to reform the system, if you want to, by bringing about a situation where people who fail to do their duty also face punishment. It is there in England that if a policeman does not do his duty well and the person is acquitted, he has to face a departmental inquiry where serious action can be taken against him. We have a situation today where our convictions in rape cases is less than 25%. What kind of a message are you giving out to the young ladies of our country that you are not safe and the police will not assist you in case of need, and the politicians, in case of an adverse instance like this, will make capital and shout from the rooftops that this should happen and frame laws which cannot be implemented? A death sentence is very good, but then you've got to have evidence to sentence the person. Where is all that? The complete procedural laws have been given up. They've been abandoned. Actually, if I may use a nasty word, they've been put in the bin. We have now, as citizens, to look after ourselves. I'm getting worried about the day when people will take the law and order in their own hands to protect their own families, like it is happening in some states. You are seeing this happening in some parts of our country where people say that we are not going to get protection from the government, so we'll create our own protection. See what's happening in Manipur. So therefore, the overall situation prevailing in the country is not particularly congenial to a better India. We are systematically decimating the foundations which we have for making India a safe place. I'm saying this on a public channel. It will be taken adversely, I know, but it is time that we voice our opinions on a complete failure of the state mechanism. We are seeing this in courts. We are seeing this in trials. We are seeing this in the conduct of specialist agencies. But there is no intention on any part to remedy this and bring about a rectification which will instill confidence in the people. That is where the sadness is.
Yes. Dr. Goswami, let me get you in here. How are the protesting doctors reacting and responding to this appeal by the Supreme Court? Are you satisfied with how the case so far is progressing in the apex court? Dr. Goswami, can you hear me? Okay, I don't think we've that connection through just yet. But Joyita, quickly coming back across to you on, of course, also now, the investigation as well. Are you satisfied with the pace and the direction it's taking, or do you believe, more is needed at a quicker pace?
Uday, I'm just going to talk more than myself. I'm going to talk about what exactly the people are saying, because it's ultimately they are the ones who are protesting. I mean, I know so many of my friends personally. I know people who are out on the streets who are protesting. I mean, people are extremely unhappy with the pace of the investigation. They are they are absolutely 100% certain that cover-up has happened. They are certain that evidence has been tampered with. It is not a question of what exactly. They are also unhappy with what the CBI is doing. They see the CBI as too slow. There is a narrative that is building up about a so-called quote-unquote setting. Setting not just between the West Bengal government and the center, setting between the center. I'm telling you, this is not my view. This is the view of the common people, of people who are protesting out on the streets of West Bengal. They are talking about a setting, that there is a setting with the CBI. There is a belief that there is a setting between the court and the West Bengal government. But the whole point is, the judiciary needs to, the CBI, the central investigating agencies need to work in a manner that this kind of, misconception that is building up, this narrative that is building up, that needs to be dispelled, that needs to be, that needs to end. You see, justice should not just be done, justice should also be seen to be done. And right now, the people of West Bengal, they are losing the faith, they are losing their faith in the judiciary, in the investigative mechanism. They have already lost the faith in whatever they had in the state government. They do not trust that government anymore. But they are also losing faith in the higher judiciary and in the central investigating agencies, the autonomous agencies. So that is definitely a problem. And if you, in fact, if I can say one more thing about, this thing that was talked about in this Mr. Sibal talked about, you see, because of the protests that are happening, people are losing their lives. I would like to say, it's a very cynical way of trying to break the protests, because you see, while I agree that, you need the doctors over there and you need the doctors, especially in the government run hospitals, but it's also a fact that the seniors of the resident doctors are filling in and already doing a lot of emergency duty. But what the government did through its lawyers in Supreme Court, they highlighted this, and it's but obvious the Chief Justice will say, for the larger good, the doctors will have to go back. But then this is also, to an extent, a death knell on the protests, and that is what exactly the Chief Minister wants, and that is why her lawyers took that, I would say, stand in the Supreme Court.
Yes, as far as, of course, now Kailash Vastev, though, your take on, on the political sort of, reluctance to have action taken on the Kolkata Police Commissioner, what do you make of that? Do you believe the way this case seems to have been botched up at the start, heads should roll?
It should be taken to task and should be taken to task immediately, starting from the investigating officer, starting from the people who are in authority, starting from the people who are holding chairs in high offices. Statements coming from rooftops that this man should be removed, he should be inducted into different places. No, he should be removed from his office because he has failed to discharge his duty in the public interest for the purpose for which he has been appointed. Whether it is the head of the police, whether the principal of the college, or whether it is, just see in today's press the statement by Mr. Sarkar, the MP who wants to resign from the party, Rajya Sabha MP. See the allegations, see the insinuations. Now, he's a man talking within the system. His views are very specific. We have a breakdown. If you have a breakdown, you must remedy it. But before you remedy this, before you do anything else, please catch the people who are responsible for this dastardly act. Where is that happening? Where are we giving any kind of succor to the people that in such instances, such heinous instances, we will bring about justice? I mean, personally, I don't see any conviction taking place in this matter. Water will flow over the river, water will flow down the river. We will forget the episode. Nirbhaya was a classic episode. The conviction took place because there was no politics involved. It was the local people, it was the press, it was a dedicated police force which worked without let or interference from anybody else. Mark you, one thing happened in that case also. When this young girl was admitted to Safdarjung Hospital, the government of Delhi flew her away to Singapore to avoid the backlash of the public, which has started at India Gate. She died in Singapore. We do not know whether she died here or what, but she eventually passed away in Singapore. So the vehemence with which people were agitating this kind of an incident had to face a situation where it was watered down by a very calculated political move that we are not able to treat her in India, so we are flying her to Singapore. In this case, we are doing a similar thing. We are asking the courts to get the doctors to work so that the tempo of this particular agitation, asking for justice for this unfortunate victim of this horrible death, is not carried out. It's politics. It is no longer law and order. It is no longer the availability of a justice system with due compliance with law. The justice system is also trying to find ways out so that there can be protection to doctors. But what are we doing to catch the people who are responsible for these events? The question is there. That has now gone into the background. Doctors should come back to work, yes. The people should understand this is a situation where we are looking into it, yes. But what are you looking into? What are you driving the system to? You're driving the people to frustration. And as I said before, that day is not far away where people will take law and order in their own hands, break heads, take care of, create situations which will be impossible to handle. I gave you instances of Manipur. No one is bothered about the government. You're dropping bombs into houses. You're killing people left, right, and center. The divisions of groups. You're seeing the same thing happening. There was an instance recently in UP where this man and his family were treated in an odd way and how they retaliated. So therefore, gangsterism, breaking down of systems, people doing all sorts of things to take revenge will now become the order of the day if we don't bring about a semblance, repeat, a semblance of correctitude in the system.
Yes. Okay, let me, in fact, take that to Ashwini Upadhyay as well for his take. Ashwini, do you also believe that the fact, of course, very clearly is that, there is demand and legitimate demand that obviously some action is needed at the top if a probe has been botched up? Why is that not happening? And as far as, of course, the way, the direction the investigation is taking, are you satisfied as a citizen?
See, says the Honorable Supreme Court, I'm not that much competent as Kailash Vasudev sir is to say very fearlessly, because he is a very noted senior advocate of this country. But so far as my view is concerned, so far as the investigation, because Honorable Supreme Court has asked the agency to investigate the issue, but there is already delay. The investigation was handed over to CBI at a very delayed stage, when the evidence was already destroyed. And not only one instance, Uday, I must say there was delay of more than 15 hours in filing the FIR, that too in a case where somebody has lost her life. Today, what transpired during the hearing, Uday, if we see the newspaper and the legal reportings, that the post-mortem column, the question which was raised by the honorable bench with respect to the hearing of this case, asked the West Bengal police to produce the challan which was sent along with the dead body for post-mortem, and there was no mention about articles were seized. And there is a specific column when something is sent for some body is sent for for examination post-mortem, each and everything has to be mentioned. It means something was missing. And the Sanjay Ghosh, the blue-eyed boy, who was the main person responsible for this, has not been charged under the offense of wrongful malicious act committed, but he has been charged for the corruption. Third, there is certain duties lies on the central government as per the constitution itself. When there is lawlessness in the state, when there is internal exigencies, internal emergencies, the state is failed to discharge its constitutional obligation, the center must transgress and use its constitutional powers to give the citizens a law and order, the protection and everything. The doctors are protesting. Who is bothered? Only doctors and the people who are supporting them from behind. Of course, the politics. People will forget, as Shri Kailash Vasudev sir very rightly said, that there is not even intention to remedy the damage which has been caused. We don't see it. We are sitting in Delhi. What we are seeing in the newspapers, channels, and what is transpired in the court, we have seen. But what is the people feeling there? What the Human Rights Commission's report says? This case has happened today. And then another aspect you see, we have such a great senior lawyer, but the Aparajita law which was brought, the center has already a legislation under the BNS. But bringing that law even he cannot pass the essential test under the constitution. because the central government has already passed a law. That is just an eyewash. And giving a punishment in 10 days, completion of investigation in certain days, then at the one hand, you are saying that you want to give the people the justice delivery, the accountable justice delivery system. On the other hand, what happened to the medical case of Hyderabad?
Okay, Dr. Goswami has also joined us now. I believe Dr. Subarna Goswami, I believe he is finally with us. Dr. Goswami, we were trying to bring you in here earlier into the discussion on, how you react to what the Supreme Court has said, how it's being taken by a fraternity. The Apex Court, of course, urging you to come back to work by tomorrow.
See, you actually, our legal team, our lawyers will debrief us in detail tonight. Before that, primarily, we are welcoming Supreme Court's order to CBI that they allowed, Supreme Court allowed CBI to, summon and interrogate anybody, whoever he or she may be, whatever influential person he or she may be. That decision we were welcoming. And the second thing is that Supreme Court has reiterated today that the state government cannot, bring about any backlash on the peaceful protesters using their state power. That has also been reiterated today. So we are welcoming these decisions. And regarding, stopping cease work of the junior doctors will take this call, take a call on this. So that will be there. We, the senior doctors who are not striking, but we are agitating and we are protesting. So we will be continuing our protest movement even stronger till the proper justice and timely justice is done.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.